Okay.
Hold on. This is the clerk. Shall I call him next?
Okay. We're going to call, while they're getting it worked, you'll be able to testify just 1 minute. Jaden Davis. Is Jaden Davis here? Here comes Jaden representing herself against the bill.
Good evening. Hello.
Good evening.
My name is Jaden Davis, and I'm representing myself and my daughter and my great-grandmother, my grandmother, and my mother. I'm a constituent of Representative Donna Duke's district, and I am in full opposition of House Bill 60. I feel that this bill perpetuates the idea that women are second-class citizens, that they're unable to make educated decisions about how and when they wish to have children. It is my belief that instead of protecting the health of Texas women, this bill wishes to legislate morality by depriving access to safe and constitutionally protected abortions. In a state that prides itself in minimal government, why does Texas feel that it's within its legal right to impose such unnecessary restrictions on a woman's right to choose? For what gain? Does it think that by limiting access to abortion that it will somehow result in more wanted and cared for babies? I think we all know the answer to that question. A woman's body is her own, no one else's. If Texas wishes to support and protect the women who live within its borders, can we begin by properly refunding the women's health care program? Can we also instead have comprehensive sex education and access to effective birth control? It only makes sense that prevention works better than prohibition. We have seen that in many areas. I admonish you to consider the harm that this bill will impose on thousands of Texas women and put this bill in the trash where it belongs. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. The hands are okay, but the outbursts are not. Okay. Laura Davila. Laura Davila, Feminist Austin Network Group, representing herself also
Yes.
against the bill. Good evening.
Hi, good evening. My name is Nicole Davila, and I'm a constituent of Representative Elliott Nechat, and I'm here today to urge you to protect women by voting against this bill. Many of us are here today because we're concerned about how this bill could affect reproductive rights to the detriment of poor women and women of color in Texas. I probably won't bring anything new to light that has not or will not be said more eloquently by my fellow Texans. But what I will say is I'm here tonight in spite of my own growing cynicism toward my state and the game it's made of reproductive rights and access to health care for women. Lieutenant Dewhurst clarified his goals for this legislation when he mockingly retweeted a graphic designed by Planned Parenthood to illustrate the significant impact that the passage of these bills would have on a number of facilities where women could access safe and affordable abortion procedures. The Lieutenant Governor proudly flaunted his victory in the Senate with as much class as a grade school boy, taunting a crying girl and about half as much sincerity. What's worse, his comment confirmed the fear that this bill's passage would indeed shut down dozens of clinics across Texas, already a small number given Texas's the size of our state. The very few safe abortion clinics that would remain open if this bill were to pass would directly impact and limit access to women outside of the main metropolitan areas of Texas, making it harder for women to easily and affordably access reproductive health care in rural areas or border towns like Laredo, where I grew up, or the Rio Grande Valley, where most of my family lives. In other words, very poor and largely Hispanic communities. Thankfully, I have been lucky and have yet to ever face the heartbreaking and complicated position some women have found themselves facing, but my luck and experiences are not those of every woman. The idea that some legislators, or even just that some people, refuse to understand the concept of empathy beyond what they extend for an unborn potential child is more than just heartbreaking to me. It's disturbing. It's disturbing that some people really believe that women might treat what should be their own decision to terminate a pregnancy as lightly as Dewhurst treated his victory against Planned Parenthood this week. I urge you to vote against this bill. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Is this my next one? Leah Davis. Leah Davis here representing herself to speak against the bill.
Hello. My name is Leah Davis, and I'm here to testify against this bill.
I am a constituent of Representative Dukes. I am here as the daughter of an abortion provider, and I am here as a former patient educator for an abortion provider. My experience gives me unique insight into the lives and hearts of women facing the decision to have an abortion. My unique insight also gives me some insight into the lives and hearts of an abortion provider. My father, a board-certified OB-GYN who testified earlier, he testified about what he saw in his days during medical school and his residency before Roe v. Wade. He's told me the stories. He's told me the story of the woman whose hand he held as she died because of an illegal abortion. Growing up, I wondered what would motivate him to provide care when his life was at risk, when he had to wear a bulletproof vest. Why would he do that? I understand now why. It's because he saw the travesty, the tragic events of what happened before Roe v. Wade. He knows firsthand. And so what happens in Texas if all but 5 clinics close? What happens? How will a woman in El Paso or Lubbock or South Texas or Amarillo get abortion care? This bill will close clinics. Women will be left with no choice, and the vast majority of women cannot afford to take days off of work, if they can get days off of work, to travel, to pay for a hotel, and to arrange for child care. It's just not possible. So what will these women do? Sadly, I know what these women will do. My dad knows what these women will do. He saw what those women will do. And the bill will force women to go to unlicensed and illegal practitioners. No doubt women in El Paso and South Texas will go to Mexico. Believe me, this will happen, and it will be devastating. I hope you will join me in opposing this bill. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. You look like your father.
People tell me that all the time. Thank you, though. That's fine.
Samuel Woodruff. Samuel Woodruff, representing himself against the bill, will show him against the bill, not testifying. Eleanor Droll. Representing herself against the bill.
Good evening. My name is Eleanor Droll, and I'm here to testify against House Bill 60. I'm a constituent of Representative Eddie Rodriguez. When I was 45, I learned I was pregnant for the first time in my life. Knowing what a tremendous responsibility it was to bear and raise a child well, I had long ago decided I would never be up for it. I imagine my anguish that after scrupulously practicing birth control for 25 years, I found I was pregnant because of a failed condom. The indignity. At the time, I was working full-time as an administrative assistant for a Texas affiliate of a national social work group and earned $28,000 a year. My husband's freelance business was slow, and I found myself to be the main breadwinner. Yay, feminism. My husband and I discussed our options at length, but I knew in my heart that not only could we not afford a child, I would not make a good mother. And so we decided to terminate the pregnancy. It was an interesting process to go through. When I called the clinic to make the appointment, I was told I needed to listen to a taped recording of what the procedure would involve, as well as what developmental stage the embryo would be in at the time of my appointment. When I went to the clinic, I was told I would need to speak to a counselor. I assumed this was to make sure I knew what I was doing. But my decision remained firm. As part of the process, what must have been some sort of transvaginal probe was done, and the technician asked me if I wanted to see the image of the embryo. I said sure. When she asked if I'd like a picture of the embryo, I demurred. The procedure lasted less time than my counseling session had. After it was over and I was recovering for the following weeks, I was elated to be free of the responsibility I had never wanted. That was shorter than I thought. What I'd like to leave you with...
Well, thank you for your testimony.
Thank you. Just one thing in mind, women vote, fetuses do not.
Please. Okay, Deanna Edwards, here to representing herself to speak against the bill. Ms. Edwards here. We'll show her against the bill, not testifying. Ayla Erdner, here representing herself against the bill. Show her against the bill, not testifying. Guillermo Fager. I'm sorry, I got your first name wrong. I apologize. I have you testifying, representing yourself, testifying against the bill.
That's correct. It's Giuliana Fager. That's okay. I know what to listen for. I'm glad you gave it a shot. Thank you. I'm Giuliana Leonard Fager, and I am here to represent myself and the Lilith Fund, and I oppose this bill. You might have guessed that from the orange dress. Although I've been here since 1:30, and I was tempted to change into my yoga clothes in my car. I wanted to tell you a story. My mother is 63 years old, and she went to Puerto Rico in 1969 to have an illegal abortion that cost $700 in 1969, which sounds like not that much, but it's comparable to almost $7,000 today, which sounds like an insane amount of money, but we see women with the Lilith Fund who need that much money to get their procedures completed. My mom took me to the March for Women's Lives in Washington in 1992 when the Supreme Court was preparing to hear the Planned Parenthood versus Casey case. I attended the second March for Women's Lives in 2005, the same year I testified in the Virginia legislature against a bill just like this put forward by Ken Cuccinelli. I'm a board member of the Lilith Fund, which provides financial support to women who are most affected by the laws you pass, poor women who cannot afford to pay for abortions. Many of them have children already. Some are homeless. 7% report to us that they are victims of rape. 9% report that they are in domestic abusive relationships and that this abortion is what they need to escape the man who beats her. But regardless of their circumstances, all of these Texans have the same rights as those who can afford to travel farther or take off work to comply with the laws requiring medically unnecessary procedures like forced ultrasounds. Laws like HB 60 will close clinics, but they will not stop abortion, merely make it harder to get and unsafe. My mother still has buttons from the 70s with coat hangers on them, and I'll be honest, I always thought they were kind of over the top and uncool. Though her illegal abortion was performed by a doctor who practiced safely, she knew women who died from back alley abortions and many others who were forced to have sex with their doctors as an insurance policy that they would not report them. I never really felt the threat of illegal abortion until I came to Texas, when it became abundantly clear that our legislature's dramatic biennial performances of protecting life and women's health totally outweighed the humdrum, grinding responsibility to support women and families. Research published in 2010 in the journal Reproductive Health Matters that Heather Busby referred to found that women in South Texas already go to Mexico to get misoprostol directly from pharmacists to induce abortions. If we want to reduce abortion, especially those that happen in the late term, we can work together to increase women's access to health care. This bill does not do that. I got the button that I'm wearing today at the March for Women's Lives when I was 11, and I am too damn young to say that I am too old to be protesting this.
Thank you very much for your testimony. Elizabeth Farrington. Elizabeth Farrington here representing herself against the bill. We show her against the bill, not testifying.